This episode of Wildly Curious, we're going to be talking about another mini episode of swarms, and I'm going to be talking about desert locusts in particular, just because, and I learned some...
Plague it up.
Yeah, might as well. Give me a solid plague here, guys. All right. So, again, the desert locust in particular, they're one of the ones that have known to cause the huge locust swarms. And so, like of apocalyptic on wings kind of thing. So we're going to be talking about one of the most devastating, chaotic, and scientifically just crazy swarms on the planet, the desert locust, or Schistocerca gregaria.
Okay.
We'll take it.
Gregaria, I'm sure if you're gregarious, you like to hang out with people.
Correct. And so that's going to come into play here in a second. So this desert locust in particular, they have two modes. Regular old grasshopper, just minding their own business, or biblical plague. Like it is one or the other, and they can switch back and forth.
I can respect that. I don't want anyone to describe me that way, but I am slightly envious of being like, man, she's just totally normal, listen, and then plague level crazy.
Wait until you hear why. I didn't know the details of all of this stuff, so just hold on to that thought, because it actually gets funnier. I understand grasshoppers now. I never thought I would understand a grasshopper. I can empathize with them. So, like I said, the particular ones that we're talking about is the desert locust. And it's a species of short-horned grasshopper found across Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia.
Okay.
Now, here's the twist. Taxonomically speaking, a locust is a grasshopper. The word locust isn't a separate species or anything like that. It's more of a behavioral label, let's just say.
Okay.
So
like vermin.
Yes. So it refers to there's several of the short-horned grasshoppers that can form swarms. So there's only certain of these grasshoppers that can actually form swarms. And this is one of them. But the environmental conditions have to be just right. So that ability to swarm has evolved independently in at least 18 genera across 5 subfamilies of grasshoppers.
Yeah, because they do in the United States too. Just
yeah.
Maybe not to that extent.
Yep. Yeah. So again, the term locust is less of a family name and more of a warning label, I guess.
Yeah.
So most of the time, the desert locust lives a quiet life. Like I said, it's solitary, shy, hops around, eats leaves, minds its business. For the most part, it's an introvert, just does its thing. But when the environment changes, for example, when a long drought ends and rains return and the plants start blooming, the population just explodes. And with too many grasshoppers and too little space, that's whenever they start to actually transform. And this isn't just okay, I guess I'll hang out with other insects now swarm. No, this is like when that biblical plague switches here. And this, from its name, you've mentioned the gregarious phase. This is whenever it switches. So what triggers it? Touch. Specifically, physical contact with hind legs. So as everything, let's say you have a drought.
This is like when you're at the grocery store and somebody hits your ankles?
Basically, yes. But imagine,
okay, you're right. I totally understand going plague.
Right. So think of it this way. You go through a drought, and then all of a sudden the rains come. They get all excited. That causes them to start mating like crazy.
Yeah.
And then the population booms, and the more physical contact with their hind legs, multiple times per minute over several hours, that kind of constant bumping leads to the surge in their nervous system, which releases a hyper amount of serotonin.
So it still feel good? So they like it that this is happening?
Not necessarily. But then whenever it starts to spike, that sets off a physical transformation. The color changes that they have, it goes from green to, there goes the thumbs up again. So I have to count with my pointer fingers now. The color changes from green or tan to a bright yellow with black markings. This is the desert locust in particular. Muscles, they start bulking up and getting strong. What is happening? Why are there balloons everywhere now? Oh my gosh.
You just said bulking up and they were like balloons. That'll make this conversation better.
I don't even know, but this never happens to you. This only ever happens to me. Anyway, So
anyone who's listening, I know you're confused, but it's just weird stuff happening on the screen.
Yeah, and Squadcast, and I have no idea what's happening. Muscles, they start bulking up and getting stronger. Their wings, everything starts to get, the brain starts to rewire for activity, movement, group attraction, all this kind of stuff. So that surge in serotonin,
they just Hulk out.
Yeah, it literally is a Hulk. So they don't just tolerate each other, they start to actively seek each other out. So swarming becomes not just possible, but necessary, because it's almost like their nervous system is like, what would make this a lot better? A billion of us is essentially what they say. So eventually it gets to a tipping point where there's too many of them. They've bumped into each other too many times. They're like, you know what? At first this was fun. Now I'm over it. And then that's whenever they are like and they just lose it.
And eat everything in sight. They get the munchies afterwards.
Yes.
Drugs are bad, kids. Drugs are bad.
Right. Yeah, right. Serotonin, good. But clearly in large quantities, it'll make you Hulk out and then swarm and then
want to touch everybody and then eat everything in sight.
Right. Maybe I have too much. No.
Lessons are learned.
Yeah, right. So they can travel up to 90 miles or 150 kilometers in a single day, riding the wind in basically just a massive swarm cloud that can stretch up to for 1,000 square kilometers.
That's
all right.
Wild.
In some cases, they have estimated up to average 80 million locusts per square mile, or that would be 270-ish locusts in a half mile. Is it a half? Yeah, a half mile. Because a square kilometer is about a half a mile. So the largest swarm ever recorded.
They'd be hitting all over you.
Right? You can't get away from that.
That's what the plague of Egypt was, literally these locusts, because they live in the same place. And for sure you would think that this was the end of the world. Really, though, it was just some hopped up...
Yes.
It was some hopped up grasshoppers.
Right?
Just feeling good, baby.
Yeah.
Running through Egypt.
So the largest swarm ever recorded, not estimated recorded, was not this desert locust, but it was called Albert Swarm, and it happened here in the U.S., and it comprised of Rocky Mountain locust, which is now an extinct species. But this swarm was estimated to be made upwards of 12 trillion individuals.
That would just, they would eat everything, and your family would starve to death.
Yep. So how much do they eat? Speaking of that, each one eats its own body weight in plants daily. And when you do the math across millions and millions or billions or trillions, that's a salad apocalypse right there. Like, you can't
solid apocalypse.
Yeah.
Especially if you're named something like the desert locust, there's probably not already a lot of plants there to even eat.
No, right? So you're going to move. So you're going to move and you're going to devour whatever you can find.
Just everything in sight, which means every other herbivore in the area just dies.
Yep. So just like the starling, whenever they're in that swarm, they still maintain the same 3 rules as what a starling does. Stay close, but not too close. Match the speed and direction of your neighbor and just follow the crowd. And that's how they end up moving around. And again, the end result ends up being a massive shape-shifting wave. And it just gets to be insane.
I like grasshoppers, but nobody likes that many grasshoppers with those spiky legs, and they just be biffing you in the head like cicadas do.
Right? No way. So researchers, though, have used drone tracking software. The UN has a whole, because of course the food, what was it, FOA, food and something, agricultural lines, they track whenever these
that makes sense.
Happen. Yeah, because it is so, devastating.
Jeez.
Because why does this all matter? So again, I said some numbers earlier, so let's just put this into perspective here. So 80 million locusts into just 1 square kilometer, it's about 200, sorry, I said 270. About just over 200, so about 207 million per square mile locust, which is insanity. And any plant that they come across, they eat because they have to. They have to eat their own body weight every day. Here's the scary part, because I never really thought about this until now. A locust swarm doesn't just stop whenever it's full or tired, because it's never going to be full or tired. Yeah,
because every day they get hungry.
So it only stops when food runs out, the weather, there goes the thumbs up again. When the food runs out, weather changes, and more rain comes and it breaks them up. So that
break it up.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. It has to be a force of nature. because you can't chemical spray them with anything. People have tried to be like, oh, let's just douse them with the ton. No, they live and they breed and they move and they breed. And so you can't stop this thing. So unless there is an actual force of nature that makes them stop, you can't stop it. It just continues to go. So yeah, so I didn't get, because it's a mini-sode, didn't get too into the weeds with all this stuff. So anyway, so you guys, desert locusts.
That's nuts. I never want to see that.
No.
Never.
Never. Your shark starlings I've seen, that's cool. The shark swarm that you talked about, that's cool.
Yeah.
Locust,
too many bugs.
No thanks. No thanks. All right, guys. Well, on that note, make sure you go check us out on Patreon and then follow us on our social media channels, Wildly Curious Podcast. And then, go support us on Patreon. And until next week.
Bye.